Dja, peace and blessings. Can everyone hear and see the slide?
Kemetic Neteru Kake Uber Ke Pesebuke Kati Sudaneteru Tua Ra Ke Tu Bene Irine Mutlu Yaise Epiriniti Manu Hete Hetu Mahadetra Tua Rake Tu Bene
Huge, everyone. Peace and blessings. Today is September 23rd, and we're continuing with our Herab meditation that extends through the end of this month. Today we are going to do Ra again, and we're going to have a little addition of a special panel that we're going to go into a little deeper to give the deepest insight into Ra. Recall that this process of the Herab meditation is adapted with the scientific basis of a technique called heart math, which is like a nonprofit organization that did studies related to the specific breathing technique of breathing through the heart with gratitude, joy, compassion, caring. And they measure different physiological factors and also electromagnetic factors related to this particular technique, and found many benefits, especially what they refer to as heart-brain coherence. The heart has its own intrinsic nervous system, and it sends more nerve impulses to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. So the heart, just like the way the gut has its own intrinsic nervous system, we call it the first brain, the gut, and then the heart has its own, and then we have the brain. And so this improves coherence and in an active, alert way. So this practice can be done with breathing through the heart, with those feelings of gratitude, of joy, of caring, of compassion. They can be done at any time, and they, in effect, when one is stressed out, and we may say, oh, well, we think of stress normally as some event or situation occurring, and we get stressed out about it, or we get stressed because of it. But really, when we are living as the ego personality, that's like pretty much a stressful life in and of itself, because we are living as something that we're not. And so we are living out of the mind-body capacity, and the mind has a way of triggering the body to become stressed out pretty much all the time for things and thoughts that we have that are stressful thoughts that we keep reliving. So this is a way to cut through that and break through that, and bring the brain, the frontal part of the brain, the forebrain, the higher brain centers back online, and keep them online, so that the mind can flow through those aspects of the brain that gives us our higher conscious awareness functions. So we call it greater mental resilience, healing to the heart, the brain, and that's the whole physical body through the hormones, the chemicals, the immune systems. If stresses and the effects of stress are minimized and decreased and cut out, then one is able to instead have a heart centered in the divine, or true essence, or deeper essence. And with that, there is going to be authentic feelings of gratitude, of joy, of caring, of compassion, because that is the nature of the royal personality. The ideal initiate, what we call the royal personality, that is the nature. The nature, it's hard for us to not be compassionate. It's hard for us to not be caring. It's hard for us to not be have gratitude. So when we go to Kemet and we see all the panels there with the reciprocation of devotion to the divine, attention on the divine, everywhere, that is a message to us as how our hearts are supposed to be function as a normal. It's supposed to be filled with gratitude and devotion and caring and love for the divine, and through the divine to each other as well. There's an essence of oneness, and that's also been studied in persons doing meditation and connecting to this oneness. And this oneness is also a human physiological, spiritual need that we have to feel recognizing universal underlying reality that makes us all one and connected. And that, of course, in the myth of the creation myth that we're going to read, relates to Ra, and relates to the essence that everything, look around you right now, look at the computer, look wherever you are, take a moment and breathe, that everything is raw essence, raw stuff. We may call it consciousness. We may call it awareness. We may call it Ra. We may call it noon, Ra noon. Noon is the ocean in the myth. Noon is the ocean, the primeval ocean. What in the science they're calling the quantum, I think, the quantum matrix, which is like they describe as being, this primordial type of energy that can become anything that one wants to be, out of which all possibilities. So that's what we call the noon. So we have it all here in the Kemetic tradition, through our mythic cosmologies, through our different myths, to tie us to these images of the divine, and then to transcend all images of the divine, and to discover, and even the image of our personality, to discover our true essence as that divinity. So this meditation process that we're engaged in is part of that, is part of establishing in our minds, because it's already establishing our being, that the essence of who we are in time and space are the Neteru, are the cosmic principles. Those are the ideals of what makes up a royal personality. And that is the template is already laid out for us, that is already there, that we already are. And we are just trying to make and remove aspects of the personality that are steeped in egoism and seeing duality and feeling ourselves to be different from everything and separate and different. We're trying to remove those, efface those, so that that which we already are can be revealed. So we call that process manking, removing aspects that have attached around the royal personality and obscure it, from our own vision of ourselves. So this is a very healing process. It's the highest healing process. So here we are affirming these Neteru cosmic principles as the essence of our being. And in doing so, we are aligning with those energies. And in doing so, we are bringing our heart back online. And they are the essence of our heart. And the heart relates to the unconscious mind. So in the Temple of Asar, in Kemet, in Abydos, we see all of the Neteru being referred to as head ab of the royal personality, the temple initiate, the priests and priestesses. Through every panel, it says this, and each Neteru is equally related as head ab. We're going to see some examples of Ra. This innermost essence, the innermost heart of the personality, tells us that that's what there is. So this temple is suited to aligning us with the true essence of our personalities as exists in time and space. And when we are aligned with the true essence of our personality that exists in time and space, we understand the aligned oneness. We tap into those cosmic principles that are represented by the Neteru, and we perfect those within ourselves. When we attune ourselves to them, then they come online, so to speak. They're already there, and then we are aligning with them, and they can express more and more through our personality. And when they express through the personality, that means the ignorance and egoism is expressing less and less. And therefore, we are coming into alignment with our deeper essence that is going to allow us to transcend all aspects of our personality and discover our true essence. So here we go. Tap. So we've already played the Duo Ra. This is the version that we'll play, that Seba Dja on the drums, and it's a recorded version, and I will sing along with it. And in your own sacred space, you can also chant with me. And it's Hymn to Ra. See, we're evoking feelings of devotion. So this is the time to let your feelings, so to speak, fly freely. Let the feelings of positive feelings come out. Let the positive feelings of love, of peace, of joy, any positive spiritual feeling to flow. And then as we recognize the essence of all creation is, as we put it, raw stuff, divine stuff, consciousness stuff, everything's made out of the primeval ocean, then we recognize, and we're not disturbed by objects around us because we recognize their essence is raw stuff. The essence of us is raw stuff. And in that way, we're connected to each other, you and I as well, even though separated by miles through this network of raw stuff that we are affirming. Neteru. Adorations to Ra when he arises in the horizon eastern of heaven. Homage to Ra coming forth as Khepera, Khepera, creator of the gods and the goddesses. Rise in thee, shine in thee, lighten up thy mother goddess Nut, the sky, rising as Lord, King of the gods and goddesses. So starting off with our breath, using our instructions given to us through the wisdom teaching. Breathing rhythmically and deeply to be as Ra, which means to discover our universal nature, as well as our transcendental nature. Starting with the warm-up breath, a proper breathing as you would exhale, pushing all the air out. Inhale, abdomen filling and expanding. Exhale, pulling the abdomen to the spine, gently breathing out through the nostrils, mouths closed. Unless you have a medical issue you cannot breathe out the nostril, then adapt for yourself. Inhale, expand the abdomen out like a balloon. Exhale, gently pulling it into the spine. Move it into our 3-part breath. So we continue the same as we inhale, expand the belly out like a balloon, deeper inhalation, fill in the area of the lungs, deeper still, fill in the shoulders. Shoulders rise up ever so gently. Exhale, releasing the shoulders, the chest, and the abdomen. Inhale, abdomen, chest, and shoulders. Exhale. So now we've activated the breath. We'll continue to breathe in this way throughout the whole program. So the Heartfelt Neteru meditation. The Heartfelt refers to the innermost entity and essence in the heart of the royal person, the temple initiate, as we've said. So looking at the symbols here, the face means the head and means the personality, the innermost essence, and the heart, the Ab, relates to the unconscious mind and relates to the deepest aspect of the personality that opens us up to our higher self. And so what is supposed to be in our heart or conscious mind are these templates, are these paradigms of the Neteru and their cosmic principles. That is supposed to be in our heart or conscious mind, and we operate freely through our heart, through these cosmic principles, through these ways of being. And that will allow us to be attuned to our deepest essence and our transcendental self at the same time. That's the ideal. However, due to our misidentification with our ego aspect of our personality, or mind-body aspect of the expression or manifestation of our personality, with the sense of I-ness, the sense of the I am, there's this mystic amnesia that has occurred, this forgetfulness of our true transcendental nature, and forgetfulness of the cosmic principles. They become as if they're still there, but they become obscured, become blocked by this false ideology and false way of living that we have adopted in time and space, and ego-based life, based on false principles of I-ness and minus and egoism and me and separation and disconnect from the essence of what we are and who we are. What we are referring to our time and space expression, it's not supposed to be egoistic. It's supposed to be based on the cosmic principles and our who am I, the transcendental aspect, on what we refer to as Nebuchadnezzar, the transcendental self. So when we have these ego-based thoughts and feelings, they become lodged. When there's strong feelings, strong thoughts, they become stored, lodged in the unconscious mind as impressions that we call RU. They're residual mental impressions or experiences stored in the unconscious mind. They impress the mind so much because we believe so much in our ego personality and these feelings related to the ego personality. Yes, I am angry. I am upset. I love you. But everything stops at the ego personality, these strong feelings. So they become lodged in the unconscious mind as a way for us to remember who we are and to act out of that personality that we have created out of egoism. So we live through the RU in a day-to-day manner. 90% of the RU gets recycled into our conscious awareness during the course of the day. And about 70% of that it's all egoistic, but 70% of it is like dull and agitated egoism that just keeps driving the personality. And we feel this is me, this is me, this is me, because we've implanted these ideologies and concepts strongly. This is me, this is my politics, this is what I believe, this is who I am, this is what I am, in that way. So what we're doing through this, we're going back to the essence, the innermost essence of who we are, and remembering that. So we are invoking our mystical, metaphysical memory of our deeper essence in our heart as the Neteru. And as we remember that, then these RU of ignorance and misunderstanding and egoism will dissipate, because they can only exist as long as we believe ourselves to be this constructed ego personality that we've created over lifetimes and consolidated again in this lifetime, if we were not born enlightened, which if we're here, we were not born enlightened. So now we are going back to that ideal, and we are resurrecting it, and we're aligning with it, we're restoring it. We are remembering who we are. So I've shown this before. I'm not going to get too far into it, but I just like to give the visual imagery in general here. It's just basics. This, again, can be found in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, Volume 4, and also on Kemet TV, the 2018 Turin Conference. Seba Dja went into it in detail. So this is just a schematic. It's an ideal. Don't hold on to it as a form. This is what it is. But just generally, we have the lower aspects of the personality on the left, and then we have the higher aspects of the personality in the right. And what keeps the lower and the higher from becoming aligned, and so we become an integrated personality, is that RU that I talked about in the unconscious mind, the deep elements of the unconscious mind that are related to the egoistic aspect of the personality, the constructed egoistic aspect. The egoistic aspect of the personality is basically reacting to situations in time and space without understanding the nature who we are and the nature of time and space. So going back to Ra helps to reset that now so that we get purified ego. And purified ego is very thinned out. It's so thinned out that it doesn't block and obscure a destruction of the Herab, the innermost essence, as the Neteru, in the innermost essence of our heart. If the innermost essence of our heart, the Neteru, are established and we're aligned with them, then we have an alignment between the lower aspects of the personality and the higher aspects of the personality, and we truly are living as our royal personality. So that aspect of Apep that the scripture will be talking about, which is the chaotic, disjointed, degraded, leading to destruction aspect of nature, is why everything in nature just goes back to, like, breaks down. The house eventually, if you leave it long enough, it'll break down. It'll even the pyramids are, you can see over time, anything in creation will break down. And this breaking down aspect can join with the egoistic aspect of the personality and become really degraded. Like, it doesn't care anymore about life. It becomes dejected and becomes depressed. What is the point? It's sort of like a broken down aspect of the personality. We call that a PEP set. And so those are really, really obscuring type of RU that really, really blocks the essence of our personality and the innermost essence of the heart. So I said today we're going to do Ra again, a little bit of twist. Ra is the Herab, the innermost essence of our heart, of the royal personality of the temple initiate. So when we are referring to Ra, key to this process with this heart-based meditation technique that we are using, which is we're using the technique of heart breath, and we're using it in alignment with our deepest aspects of our heart being, which is the Neteru. And here we're talking about Ra, the Creator Divinity. And when we are speaking about Ra, in this process, you have to understand Ra is an aspect of your own being, of my own being, your own being. It's one Ra, and it's the only essence that there is, and it's the aspect of all our deeper being. So when we talk about the royal personality, it means that royal personality, that temple initiate, who's aligned with Ra as the innermost essence of his heart. So when we see these panels, we activate them by putting ourselves in the place of the royal personality and emulating the rituals of the royal personality, and emulating the feeling of the royal personality, emulating the devotion of the royal personality, emulating the attentiveness of the royal personality. And in so doing, we activate the panel and we can get the divine grace, what we call Sa'ankh, of the Neteru that we are devoting ourselves to as the royal personalities demonstrated. And we're going to come back to this panel later. This is our panel of focus. So who is Ra? You're not worshiping something outside of yourself, but feel that you're worshiping a deeper aspect of your being. Use your mind, your imagination, use every ounce of feeling that you can allow to rise up in you, and put it all here. We're going to go to the temple again at the very end, just for time's sake. But in the temple, in the Ra chapel in the temple, and this can be found in Seba Dja's book, Temple of the Soul, Initiation Philosophy of the Temple, chapter 22, Initiatic Stop 17, Establishment in the Divine Image of Ra in the Ra Harakti Chapel. So that gives a philosophy behind it if you go to read that section. But what I want to share with you, there are all the panels there, the devotional panels, the attentiveness, the devotion, the time, the feeling, the identification, the attunement, the alignment. So as you look at the panels, feel that you are the one there. offering the devotion and connecting to this deeper aspect. And all these panels, they refer to the royal personality as Herab, Medu and Ra Harakti, word spoken Harakti, innermost essence. Then it would go on to say of the royal personality's name. Again, here, this beautiful panel, the offering to Ra and Aisset Heteru, and again, this innermost essence. So the panels are just affirming everywhere that the royal personality is this Herab of Ra Harakti, the innermost essence. So feel and connect to that innermost essence. So we'll go to the Union Creation Myth, reading verses of our scripture for context and connection, deeper connection to Ra. So continue the breathing. You can, if you know the heart-based breathing technique, you can already start doing the heart-based breathing technique as far as feeling like you're breathing in and out of the heart center, or you can continue the regular breathing technique until we get to the aspect of the breath. Selections from a Union Creation Myth A, Book of Knowing the Forms of the Creator and Defeating the Principle of Chaos, Degradation, Decay, that we refer to as a PEP. Shat enti re keperu nu ra, sekar apep, jadu nebajur jed f, chet keper f nuk ap hu kepera. This book contains the wisdom about an understanding, forms, images, representations of Ra, the creator of creation, and for defeating Apep, the force that counters Ra, in relation to his creative work. The following words were spoken by Nebuchadnezzar, the all-encompassing, transcendental, divine, true self that gave rise to Ra. After creating himself, he, Nebuchadnezzar, now in the form of the creator, said, I am the creator. So this is showing that in the Kemetic tradition, we understand when we talk about Ra, that Ra is a mental construct, as it were. It's a cognitive expression, like something, an image we can hold in the mind, because the mind is constructed to hold images, thoughts, feelings, memories. And so the sages in their wisdom gives us this image of a creator divinity that we can hold in time and space in our minds to represent a manifestation or an expression of that which is unseen, that which is without form, that which is beyond mind, that we call Nebuchadnezzar, that the scripture tells us that Nebuchadnezzar, as if within himself, emanates, produces this creator divinity. So the idea is that we are not to think of Ra as something different than Nebuchadnezzar, which means we're not supposed to think of this creation as something different than Nebuchadnezzar. It's just the mind and the senses that we have breaks up this eternity and this infinity that we refer to as Nebuchadnezzar, that's beyond mind. Our mind and senses breaks it up into creative objects. And so the scripture is just making sure that we know that these objects, the essence, is this oneness of Kepera, Ra Kepera, and that the essence of that has a deeper, true expression that is one, that is Nebuchadnezzar, that is the transcendental. So really everything is just the transcendental self, our true essence, being perceived through our mind and senses. And so the sages just gives it different nomenclature, different names. When we're perceiving it through the mind and senses, then the sages say we're going to call that Kepera is the creator aspect, and we're going to call Noon, the primeval ocean, that which Kepera, the body of Kepera, uses to create everything. So we are in Nebuchadnezzar, just as perceived through the mind and senses. And we call that Ra, Noon, primeval ocean. And then later on, we call it all the different names of the objects. So this is fundamental to understanding the teaching today, because we are not to get stuck in the form of Khepera and all the objects of creation that comes forth from Khepera. We are to be seated in our Nebuchadnezzar transcendental self. And we're going to study a panel that we actually studied on the last trip to Kemet in this chapel, where the deeper essence of Ra is revealed. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to stay at the creative aspect only. We want to stay the creative aspect when we are experiencing time and space and living through creation, but always connected to our deeper Nebuchadnezzar aspect. So for today, I'm not going to go through the whole myth, creation myth. We're going to understand, as we have studied in the past programs for this Herab meditation with Ra, that Ra goes on in the creation myth to affirm that he created all the gods and goddesses, and every object and form of creation is created by him. And even things that humans create are being created really by him, because we do not create anything. We're using elements that comes forth from creation itself. We're using raw stuff. Whatever we create is raw stuff. So there's nothing that is not, including us, everything in creation. There's this recognition of this universal underlying spiritual reality. And that is the basis of our ethical conscience of Ma'at. Because when we live through that universal spiritual reality, then we are connected as oneness to everything. And therefore, we only act through our one self. And that allows us to basically treat everyone as our essential nature. So the ethical conscience is tied into our mystical conscience and the mystical teachings. And so when we act with Ma'at, we're also affirming Ra. As we know, Ma'at sits in the bow of the boat of Ra. So even though Ma'at is not mentioned here, it's the essence of the sociological expression of Ra, of consciousness in time and space, is Ma'at, as Seba Dja has affirmed it. So everything basically comes out of this primeval ocean and is put together, interlocked, weaved to create the forms. And then it talks about this state of inactivity, of inertness, with no movement and no form that was there, which is the primeval ocean. Which in physics, they see them referring to as the quantum field. And so that's going back to that inactive. So through our inactivity, through our inertness, through bringing the mind to one-pointedness, we're able to experience that. So cosmic principles of Ra, creation with reflections. The essential nature of Ra is Nebuchadnezzar, the true self. Nun, the primeval ocean, is Ra's body. So we can refer to this as Nebuchadnezzar, Ra, and Nun, and understand that all to be the same essence we're talking about. Nun is undifferentiated consciousness. I said what in physics they're referring to as the quantum field now. And has the potential to become anything. So they're using this a lot to go back to be in this undifferentiated consciousness state, to then be able to heal and bring forth new creation, which means new mental projections, new images that we're going to hold in our mind related to the heart, a new reality. And so that's what we're doing here. We're going back into the Nun of Ra, and we're connecting to the principle of Ra, and we're connecting to the principle of Ra as the foundation of everything in creation and the foundation of ourselves. And so that is the alignment. And when we come forth through this process, we have been recreated. And what images we're going to hold in our mind's eye that during the course of the day, instead of the 70% and the 90% of the 70% of the 90% of the egoistic, personalities, we're now shifting that to being connected in our deepest heart to our Ra, Nebuchadnezzar, Noon essence. All creation, including objects, people, is created from Ra's body, Noon. So everything in creation is connected through Ra. There is an underlying oneness that must be acknowledged, and this is the basis of an aspirant's ethical conscience, Ma'at. So this is like a heart math. They use MATH for the institute that uses the heart math, and we're using the heart in terms of Ab and Ma'at breathing. So this recognition of a universal spiritual reality. And here, yes, we're not going into a deep one-pointed meditation. That would be something you would do on your own and when you do your formal meditation, it doesn't have to be in Ra. Any formal meditation will get you to that undifferentiated consciousness state. So that's what you're trying to do in your formal meditation. Here, what we are doing, we're focused on the feeling. We're focused on actually changing the vibrations and the feelings that we feel in our body related to the emotions that come up, related to the neural links that they have in the brain, how they wire, how they fire. We are actually connecting back to our unconscious mind in a deep feeling way. So the focus of this meditation is feeling a devotion, attention to the divine, feeling that these are aspects of your deepest being connected to yourself. So this is no idolatry. This is a purification of your deepest essence, a purification of that also purifies your mind and body. So we are very alert in this process. This is an alert process of our brain being online in the highest way, and aspects of our mind flowing in a universal way and a connected way, and every aspect, every cell in our body resonating and being in this vibration, in this fluid, and this feeling of gratitude, of love, of joy, of compassion, of caring through our Nebuchadnezzar nature, our Ra Nebuchadnezzar nature. Okay. The essence of Ra is Nebuchadnezzar. This too must be acknowledged, like Lady Aset did in the myth of Ra. What appears as creation and its objects with forms and names are only mind sensory appearances. The reality is Nebuchadnezzar, energy according to quantum physics. Nebuchadnezzar is pure consciousness according to mysticism. Nebuchadnezzar is alone, one and alone. So I know I keep emphasizing this because these are important points for the process. So the other important aspect is the Sa'ankh, and I want everybody to basically have this word on their hearts and their minds throughout the course of the day, and feel it is like pouring down on you. If it's raining outside, feel that the goddess Tefnut is just pouring these raindrops of Sa'ankh. If the sun is shining in you, Ra, feel that it is vibrations and photons of Sa'ankh, of this divine protective energy consciousness that allows us to have this awareness of our divine connection. So we call it divine grace. And so feel that you're always enfolded by it. So look at the images here. Feel that the Neteru is always enfolding you, and you're being enfolded by this divine grace. And this comes from Ra. It sustains us as human beings. It enlivens their personality. And it also allows us to have knowledge of our deeper nature as Nebuchadnezzar, Ra, Noon. So it's very important for attaining spiritual enlightenment. Makes it possible for us to understand the nature of the divine and attain enlightenment. And Ra is the repository of the Sa'ankh that's transmitted to us by discovering our own divine nature that is connected to Ra, the Creator Spirit. So feel that you are just in this ocean of Sa'ankh with an alert mind, even engaged in whatever process you're doing through the breath that you have to breathe, through the heart. Always, you can go back to a heart breath at any moment. So we're using the heartfelt meditation process to experience, collect, receive this Sa'ankh by discovering our own divine nature that is connected to Ra, the Creator Spirit. Okay. And this is our panel that we are going to focus on today that I shared with you earlier. So there's two images in this panel. The one on the left, the one on the right is the first step in this ritual process. The one on the left is the second step in this ritual process. And this is in the book, The Temple of the Soul. So we're not going to go in here. But again, you see Dua, Ra, adorations to Ra. and the Meduje and Raharakti, words spoken by Raharakti, the Herab, the innermost essence. So Sebama's writing from the book that described this scene, the pathway to revealing the true nature of the divine, and here Ra, lies in the capacity to relax the outward going mind and vital forces as symbolized by the serpent, Heteru. So the serpent that you see surmounted in the sun disk is a symbol of the goddess Heteru. She is the divine expression of Ra in time and space. Remember the myth where he sends her into time and space to be his expression, to effect his Maatian laws in time and space. So the pathway to revealing the true nature of the divine lies in the capacity to relax the outward going mind and vital forces as symbolized by the serpent Heteru encircling the sun disk of Ra's brow and causing it to rest on the forehead, the point between the eyebrows. So it's telling us that projection of time and space we have when we look around and our mind, not the objects are not a problem, but our projection that these objects, they represent something other than ourselves. They represent something real and true, that has to be relaxed, that has to be withdrawn. And when that is withdrawn, then we can discover the deeper aspect. Then it is possible, after relaxing the outgoing mind, allowing the third eye to open, to see Ra without the outward coverings, the clothing that is loosened by the application of the unguent, which is the devotions, the ethical living, the study of philosophy, and the ritual application of the aforesaid. So it's like a ritual ointment that is specially prepared, that the aspirant and the scene on the top left is placing on the serpent. So the unguent goes on the serpent and it causes the serpent to relax. And this is metaphorical for the mind relaxing relative to the way it holds creation and discovering that which is beneath, the deeper aspect of Ra, of creation, when it is uncovered and unveiled. Thus, this process facilitates the approach to Ra, the creator spirit, but not as an individual meeting its maker, as it were. Rather, this is not really a meeting, but this is key here, a realization of the divine being oneself, a divine recognition of oneself being depicted on the panels in the form of the divine. So as we are having this devotion to Ra, this is a deeper feeling. What is the feeling how does it make you feel right now to have that sense of connection and recognition of yourself, that you're looking at this panel and you are revealing yourself? So the second panel here, the aspirant is as if unveiling Ra, taking off the clothing of Ra, which means like taking off the objects, taking off the forms, taking off the names, going what is beneath the forms, what is beneath the names. That is the quieting of the mind. That is the resting of the serpent on the brow. That is the opening of the third eye. So what is going to be revealed when the aspirant takes off this outer clothing of Ra? Nebuchadnezzar, right? So this is the first panel, the anointing of the serpent. Anointing the serpent by applying the unguent of the serpent, causing the outward mind to relax. And yes, this refers to a deeper process, again, of the formal meditation, but it also refers to the process we are going through. Because if we understand, as we look around the objects, we can loosen that. We can lead our mind in an intuitional way to understand that the essence of the objects is Ra, Nebuchadnezzar. With feeling, we call that Sa, understanding with feeling. So this is a Sa aspect of our spiritual practice. And it's an important aspect of their spiritual practice to activate when we have the feeling and the understanding coming together. This is part of the wisdom meditation, part of the reflective process that leads us to that one-pointed meditation in wisdom, through the wisdom. So in the scripture, it says, Ian me entumajat paramarit herume. 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 I am coming to you, O Ra, Creator Spirit, seeking fullness of consciousness. I come with unguent. I am seeking to leave from this place as the eye of Heru, the eye of inner vision that brings fullness of conscious enlightenment. So read that over yourself and say it and affirm it in your own sacred space. Ian me entumajat paramarit herume. I am coming to you, O Ra, Creator Spirit, seeking fullness of consciousness. I come with unguent. The unguent is used for the anointment. It's a special, again, process of different, like incense, and it's a special formulation that's used. Create a special, like a gel that is used to anoint the divinity. So I come with this unguent. I'm seeking to leave this place as the eye of Heru, the eye of inner vision that brings fullness of consciousness of enlightenment. And then the second panel, removing Ra's clothing to reveal Ra Nebuchadnezzar as your own essence, the one. Resu red, neter her, neter neferuke. 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 In the translation, the forgetfulness I had before about who and what I am, that caused egoism in my personality that allowed me to be with you and yet also be separate. Now that is gone. Since I expunged that, now I have woken up to the truth of my divine existence. And not only that, my wakefulness is ever increasing as I more and more awaken to my divine identity. So I come to you not with inattentiveness that causes ignorance of self, but with attentiveness that allows us to truly come together as divinity with divinity. And this coming together of divinity with divinity, of the two that recognizes self in the other as one, this is the source of your beauty, as you are the glory, and I am also as you are, since I am a projection of you, and as such, I am also you. So take a moment just to read that over yourself and affirm it, and be cognizant of how it makes you feel. Be cognizant of the feeling in your heart. It should be a feeling of connectedness, of something like touching your true self, like an authentic aspect of yourself, and connecting with that in a feeling way, in a being way, in a devotional way, looking at the image and the devotion, the attentiveness, partaking in that glory and the discovery. So here we're affirming that I'm not coming to Ra. Ra, you're the divinity, and I'm coming as the aspirant, the initiate, the royal personality. I'm working with you. This is a revelation of me. This is an experience of me. Me as all creation and transcending all creation as the one. And in fact, no difference between the one and creation, because there's only one. That means whatever this expression, manifestation, creation is, as the essence is Nebuchadnezzar. And I'm therefore Nebuchadnezzar, if Nebuchadnezzar is all there is. So now we've established our feelings, our connection, our authenticity. We are now going to use that divine love, that sense of connection, of oneness, to express our compassion of the divine for us, divine compassion of the sages for us in these scriptures, these temples, caring of the divine, acting through the sages for us to allow us to get this sa'ang, and also our caring and connectedness and compassion to people in our lives, family members, to anyone we love, anyone we care for, recognizing all the caring and compassion that we emanate and that we feel come into us from others is all this authentic self that is our true essence, that is our divine nature. So we're not giving that to the ego personality. Oh, the ego personality is caring. Oh, the ego personality is so compassionate. No, we are cutting through the chase and saying the essence of the royal personality that is immersed in their true essence, their Herab essence, is compassion, is caring, is oneness, is divine love. That's where it comes from, the source of it. So we're going back to the source and our source. So as we engage the process, we are embracing Ra, Kepra, as the foundation of Amat, and that leads us to unitary consciousness. And the unitary consciousness then, via divine grace of Sa'ank, leads us to Nebuchadnezzar, the transcendental experience. So Kepra as the oneness, and then the essence of Kepra as the one. So feeling of oneness with all creation, all of these are feelings and more that you can allow to flow through your heart. Feelings of adoration to Ra, don't get overwhelmed. Don't say like what to think, what to feel, what do I, just you can go to simply Dua Ra. Just whatever feelings of divine love emanate, feel that. Feel the compassion. You can use human relationships to expand the divine compassion. If you have a feeling of compassion to your children, to your pets, to anyone, if you have experienced compassion from anyone, use that as a nidus to expand that compassion and deepen it to your deepest essence of Ra. Feeling of care and being cared for, the same thing. Cut through, connected to wherever you feel it, however you feel it, and gratitude, the same thing, and then take it to his residual nidus of Ra Nebuchadnezzar, feeling of being one and alone in Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, so we will start the process officially. Well, the reflective process technique. We've been engaging in this Herab Sa'ang all along in the wisdom reflection aspect. Eyes open, eyes closed, does not matter. Again, eyes open is sometimes good to practice because then you can use this throughout the day. It's not only just here as a reflective, eyes closed, meditative focus, but you're getting used to looking at objects in creation and breathing through your heart, and not getting distracted by the objects and keeping to your heart center. So you can use it as an exercise for that, or you can use it to go deeper. So continue with the Ra breath. Breathing rhythmically and deeply is an important aspect of this. About 5 seconds on inhalation, 5 seconds on exhalation, which is, don't count and focus on the counting, just focus on the breath. Not holding the breath, just in and out deeply and connecting with your Ra essence. Now bringing your attention to your heart center. You can take one hand and place it in the chest over the heart area. Even though the heart and the ab refers to the unconscious mind, it has a correlation to the heart brain and the heart mind as well too, which connects with our brain. So there is also a physical connection. So bring in our hand over our chest area, the heart center area. That's going to be the area of our focus. And breathe through the heart. You can keep your hand there for emphasis, or you can relax it back down. And then activate the heart-based breathing. Visualize as if you're breathing from the heart. Yes, the heart doesn't have the lungs, but it's a visual imagination as if we are breathing from the heart. We're breathing through the divinity in the heart. Think of it that way. Because Ra is connected to Shu. We didn't go through the creation myth, but the first emanation of Ra is Shu. Shu is air and space and relates to the breath. Shu is the north wind, which revitalizes and makes whole our windpipe, which relates to the Sema and the unification process. So through the breath, there's a unifying factor of Ra. So if Ra is in our heart, we're visualizing Ra in our heart. The very essence of our Hera, the innermost essence of our Ab. And we're breathing through that Shu aspect in our heart. When we have Ra visualized in our heart as our innermost essence, our Hera, and breathing in and out through the heart center. Now we're going to connect to those positive feelings of our innermost heart, the positive feelings of the royal personality that is established in Ra. And those are feelings of adoration, of devotion, of gratitude, of cared for, being cared for. Any of all of those, you can choose one, you can choose more than one, you can shift from one to the other as your feelings change. Gratitude to the sages, gratitude for your own capacity to be able to be here, gratitude for waking up to be here, gratitude for knowing that you are the one. Gratitude for the divine continuing to carry you forth in the spiritual journey, continuing to guide you and lead you to higher and greater heights of your spiritual process. Feeling cared for in the spiritual path, not being left alone to your own wits and devices of the mind anymore. How deep is the divine love, Amar? Duara, Duara. Feel that it not only stops at you, but it emanates from the deepest essence of your Ra essence and extend to all creation. Everything in creation, Duara, Duara, is crying out and singing and chanting Duara along with you. Adorations to Ra, adorations to Ra. The gratitude, love extending through the personality to everyone, to everything in creation. This mystic oneness of all creation, with all creation, the essence of one's being. I am creation and I'm all objects in creation. I am Ra. I'm Ra stuff. Connect into the mystic oneness of all forms of Ra, of the personality, one's own personalities being the essence of Ra, family members, of everyone in creation, of nature, of animals, of all creation. This recognition of the universal spiritual reality. And now connect in with the deeper essence of all of that in the one. And now there's only one. There's only Nebuchadnezzar. Feel the one as yourself. Understand the one as yourself. Sa, understand with feeling the one as yourself. The heart breath. And so focus in on the Sa Ankh now, the divine grace. Experience gratitude to Ra. Ra Sa Ankh gift to you of non-duality, of unitary consciousness. Let gratitude and devotion and adorations overflow in your heart as you chant Duara, 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 Kepara. And just allow every aspect of your being to be flooded and resonated with the gratitude. Choose one thing now that you are grateful for and connect to that. One thing you are grateful for and connect to that. No matter what it is. Nothing's too small or nothing's too large. Connect to the Sa'ang, the divine grace. How do you feel the divine grace is flowing? Let the mind flow to one area where you feel the Sa'ang, where you connect with the Sa'ang, divine grace. You feel being blessed by the divine. You feel the blessing of the divine. What is that gratitude that you've been blessed with? It can be many blessings. Just let your heart flood with feelings of the blessings flowing and the gratitude for those blessings. This is the intimate embrace with Ra, with the divine. The reciprocation, the devotion, and the reciprocation with the Sa'ang. The essence of your own being. This whole process this morning has been like a journey of walking hand in hand with Ra, deeper and deeper into the innermost essence of our Ra being, with feeling, with appreciation, closeness, devotion, with love, divine love. Where connect to the divine love, connect to any love in your life, and recognize that it's an expression of this divine love. It comes from the divine, the deepest essence. How does it express in your life? Obviously, you're here expressing in your love for the teachings, your love to discover your true essence, your love for your true essence. You're not only that which needs to feel caring, but really your deeper essence, or you're that which expresses care. You're that which expresses compassion. Care, compassion comes from you, comes from your raw nature. So when you wake up in the mornings, make it a habit to connect with your primordial creator spirit being self, which emanates, manifests from the Nebuchadnezzar. So in that way, you also connect to the one and connect into the oneness. Connect to this authentic aspect of your being. And breathe as Ra, rhythmically and deeply. And connect to Ra in your heart. It only takes a few minutes. We're doing it here in a long journey of devotion, of feeling, of understanding with feeling. But the technique itself just takes as little as 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Once you have the understanding, then you bring that all to bear in the deep feeling. And once you program your body in how to feel through the day, what is normal feeling, what is balanced feeling, what is true feeling, program the mind to be aware of Nebuchadnezzar, Ra Nebuchadnezzar. Then the mind will be programmed properly and the body will be programmed also. And you will have this coherence between your body, mind, that will allow you to flow from this deep innermost head of essence that you are. When you're finished with this process today, take a moment to journal your thoughts, but even more than your thoughts, your feelings. What do you feel? So start it off with I feel, and note how you feel. The feeling, the RU, when it comes up, comes up in terms of deep feeling that compels the mind to think a certain way. So we are using the same process, the purify aspect of it, to program our deep feeling that's going to allow our mind to flow to our Nebuchadnezzar Ra noon awareness in an unconscious way. Not that we have to be thinking of it consciously all day long, because we have things to do, but when our mind can relax, when we take off the serpent, when we relax the serpent and our mind is able to relax, it'll go back to this Nebuchadnezzar Ra noon aspect. So it can fluctuate between Nebuchadnezzar and Ra noon, understanding and feeling they're the same. So write in your journal how you feel, your thoughts about gratitude, your thoughts about care and compassion, where you find it, where you feel it, and be sure to affirm it's connected to your divine true essence nature. We'll conclude with the Duara Kepra. For those who need to leave, Dua for joining. And for those who are able to stay a few more minutes, we'll continue to have the feeling expressed through our Duara Kepra with Seba Dja. You can chant along or you can heart breathe in silence and feel the feeling in Seba Dja's voice and in the music. It's composed and produced and everything by Seba Dja. I think myself also, I'm in here singing along with Seba Dja. Some of the parts. That's how. well. If anyone has any questions, you can type it in the chat or ask. The term Jasu means questions, inquiry. Do it for joining. And I believe we have one more of the Hera meditation. In the next week, the end of September. So see you next week. Peace and blessings. Do a hatap. Do Aspirant, Tanya, for joining and for your very effort. I appreciate it, so it's good to know that others appreciate it as well. These, I guess, in a way, this is our ABCs of mystical spirituality, I feel. This is like very foundational in the teaching for us to be programmed correctly. So that's it.